Slamming Sammy Sneed Skillern.
This time of year.
I'd love to brag about Sam, but so I will. What an absolute come alongside guy for many community leaders, for many community organizations, for many years. But just to be there and curious about how do I serve my community, how do I make lives better in my own neighborhood? Because it starts in the neighborhood. And to be able to launch any initiatives, you got to have Sam Sneed with you. Skillern. I was hoping to remember to wear my vest today because this is the signature of
kind of the uniform.
A uniform that Sam Skillern has made popular. But I will tell you, in every venture and every thing that I know I've been involved with, and I know for many others, Sam was the alongside guy. And offered perspective, asked good questions, but always supportive. How can you go to a meeting, all these meetings, and just always hear positive? And so, Sam, thank you for many years. I know the transitions are happening, but I don't want to talk anymore. I want to have you share with you our partnership with UGM, with Salem Leadership Foundation, and what the Lord has for everybody.
Well, I have a new title now, the alongside guy. I like that. You know, we build bridges and we're lightning rods, which means we have energy and we attract energy and we want to disperse energy, and we're neighborhood based. Alongside guy. I like that. Thank you. Now, did you just coin that, or is that a familiar phrase?
It's been a long day and a half.
Because we talk a lot about walking alongside. One of the things Union Gospel Mission helps us, people, family, churches do, businesses, is walk alongside people as they get healthy. Donations are great, one-time events are great, but it's really relations. I'm sure DJ talked about this when you had DJ in Church in the Park.
Sure.
It's walking alongside, and the professionals are so needed because you guys provide the scaffolding, you provide the immediate need of warm shelter, safe shelter, food, but the New Life program and other interventions where volunteers, not just staff, we need staff is very important, but your staff can't be friends with everybody.
Right.
They're professionals, they're staff, and they're friendly, and they're certainly part of a person's recovery and a person's coming back. But we need people from the community to be the walk alongside. I'm borrowing this term, Dan.
Yeah,
the walk alongside folks for a mom, a dad, a single youth, a family. They want to get their lives back together. They've made the first steps to do that. But one of the reasons they got sideways in the first place was they didn't have those concentric circles of friends, family, and faith community.
Right.
And so without those concentric circles, none of us can make it without relationship. Right. Relationship is the name of the game. So thank you to UGM for setting the table, providing that first line of help. Again, shelter, food, relationship, connections, and through the New Life program, relational healing.
Yeah.
But boy, I just want to invite the community to come down and learn how we can do more to walk alongside with your staff, which means we're walking alongside somebody who needs, who's on the path to recovery, but without relationships, it's going to be a hard path at best, and it might not work. When you see folks, everybody in our community, we see folks outdoors suffering, not healthy. And for some of us, that makes us angry, and then that motivates us to do something. I know I have friends who, and I don't want to put anyone down, but who just get angry. And say, that oughtn't happen, that oughtn't be. You're right, it shouldn't be.
You're right.
But it is, so what are we going to do about it? And
Come
you guys
alongside.
provide an intervention and a methodology and a way that we can, again, walk alongside and do something. And all the friends I have that live on the streets or in the woods, among the many needs that are out there, the bottom line is lack of relationship. My parents kicked me out. My wife and I split up. I had some friends, but they stole everything. I had some friends, and now I'm addicted. So bad relationships is how we can get sideways. In my own life, bad relationships is how we get sideways. Strong, healthy relationships is how we get right again. And so, yay for the professionals in our community who do the scaffolding for people to get healthy. But it requires the community. Now, I'm going to put our money where my mouth is, and I have a big mouth. I'm a man of I'm a man of many words. You know, it's a virtue to be a man or a woman of few words. I unfortunately have the distinction of being a man of many words. But if I heard correctly, this hour is a $2,500 goal. So Salem Leadership Foundation, maybe there's already been some donations, but we'd be happy to do the first, or at least 10% of that goal. So $250 pledged in, yes. And we would love for families, businesses, maybe other nonprofits, and I don't want to presume that other nonprofits could do it, but we're blessed that part of our budget, part of our methodology is we can be in position to help like this. And so, you know, God owns all the cattle on 1,000 hills.
Yep.
If we have a perspective of abundance, not scarcity,
Amen.
we can get the job done. And so anyway, it's something I'm not doing anything that's out of line for our bylaws or our mission. We're here to help, like Dan said. And but hearing that number, 2,500, 10% done deal. I hope 9 others are either on the way to helping or will help by the end of the hour.
That's
So
a challenge.
That's
there's the
challenge.
I add to who was our main sponsor for the hour?
Cecilia Ritter.
Cecilia Ritter. That's right, at Ritter's and Wild Pear. So
Wild Pear.
I know Cecilia. I know the Ritter family. Mike. Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Ritter's and Wild Pear. So you set the bar high. We just took a notch off it. 10%. Let's get that 2,500 or more during this hour.
Yeah, we can't emphasize, Sam, and this is your mantra, is that you know, we had the business community here today, we had the church community here today, we have a key nonprofit organization here now. This really is a community issue, and it's so complex. We need all hands on deck for this, and so we wanted to share this weekend how important it is for our community to see the diversity of people and organizations working on this issue.
Good.
From the United Way to Church at the Park to Union Gospel Mission to Church on the Hill, Salem Leadership Foundation. There are so many people that are coming alongside.
Well, and we have a
do
saying,
this,
and we don't own this. We just like to put it out there. People of faith and people of goodwill.
Right.
Again, that's not just us. In our community, there's people of faith and there's people of goodwill. And we all want the same thing, a healthy community, a community of shalom, peace and well-being. People of faith, people of goodwill. Union Gospel Mission is a great institution of faith, ministry of faith, and you work with people of faith, which everybody knows, and people of goodwill.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people need to know how broad and wide your networks are with people and businesses and systems and agencies of goodwill.
Yeah.
Again, it's kind of a given that
Yeah.
the communities of faith would be involved, but so too, for years now, you know, under you guys' leadership and the board, people of faith and people of goodwill help Union Gospel Mission with its mission of faith and goodwill, to heal people in all aspects and all domains of their life.
Right. There were many times where I just needed somebody to talk to, listen to, pray with. Sam's available every morning for breakfast, so give him a call and buy him breakfast.
Wow, just
I thought that was going to
alongside
be about once a quarter. Sam and I get together for breakfast. I just had 5 days a week booked, I think.
Yeah.
The only problem is I don't know that everyone's as courageous and tolerant as you are, Dan, to put up with me.
Oh my gosh!
You can tell.
Last 7 years alongside.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I want to honor that and
such a
express
key
gratitude.
voice in our building and our program.
Something else I want to do, again, we're talking about people of faith, people of goodwill, all the different sectors of the community. You know, the Ace Hardware families, and we have a couple here in town.
Yeah.
We're at the South Salem Ace, and so that's one. But
And West Salem does
Oh,
a
my
lot
gosh.
to help you,
generous
and the community.
generous
absolutely.
in the community. So you know, they're not doing this so that except to help. But I just want to, and I know their names probably been mentioned a lot, but I cannot say enough about how Ace Hardware, in all sectors of our city, are generous in so many different ways. So do business locally. Do business with families and businesses that give back to the community. Great products. I mean, that's a given. Great customer service. But it's that local aspect that's so important. So, yay, Ace.
So, Sam, Salem Leadership Foundation, just for those that don't know, because Mr. Alongside guy here helped create an organization that has aspects all the way from the power of neighborhoods, churches as neighbors. It just describes some of the lightning rod things and all the wonderful work that you have replicated through a whole cadre of loving help.
Thanks. Well, we have this crazy vision, but we hope it's not our vision. We hope it might be the community's vision. And it's built from what we've observed and what we've heard people say. So here's the balloon float. Here's the what if. Here's the do you believe. We believe that Salem Kaiser will become the healthiest community in Oregon.
Amen.
A city of shalom, peace and well-being.
Right.
Pretty tall order because our history is pretty rough. Mm-hmm. You know, the Oregon Constitution required for over 100 years that all the institutions of care and incarceration be in Salem or Marion County.
Yeah.
With a legislative okay, you could get a prison in Pendleton like we have, or a state hospital in Klamath Falls.
Right.
But really, they were required, most of them, to be here. The Oregon State Hospital, the Fairview Development Center, blind school, deaf school, blind school, deaf school, Chihuahua. So some would say, as I've told this story, I've heard people go, "Wow, I didn't know that. What a curse! You know, what a millstone around a city's neck to have all those institutions of care or incarceration." We take the opposite view. We think, "Wow, maybe God knew something about the people of Salem Kaiser who would be living here." But we would have the heart and the will and the willingness to love our brothers and sisters who've either moved here to get care or who've been sent by a judge to come here. So our history is checkered. We have a beautiful city, a beautiful history, all kinds of good stuff. But people sometimes wonder, why do we have some statistics that are so hard? And a lot of it has to do with all those institutions of care and incarceration.
And their families are
and
here.
The families move here too.
You know, so
so it's not a curse, it's not an albatross. It's a challenge and it's an opportunity for us to respond. So believe that despite that history and despite some of the hard reality that we have, we can become the healthiest community in Oregon in all the different measures, and it would be because people of faith and people of goodwill come together. So that's our mission. Now, a vision is something that is bigger than any one organization, and we all could do it together if we want. So, healthiest community in Oregon, that our assignment, our mission is to engage people of faith and people of goodwill to transform the community neighborhood by neighborhood, like Dan was saying. Neighborhood by neighborhood. Everybody lives somewhere. Whether you have a house, an apartment, whether you don't have a place to live, whether you're at Union Gospel Mission, you're in a neighborhood. You're in Can Do, the Central Area Neighbors Development Organization. Right next to Grant Neighborhood Association, which is right next to Highland. There's 18 different neighborhood associations in Salem. There's about 6, I think, in Kaiser. So sometimes we'll say, imagine our community, Salem Kaiser. So it's one community, but it's 2 cities. And then you have 6 public high school feeder areas. And we have private schools too, and we have Roberts, which is our 7th high school. But there's 6 high school feeder geographies: McNary, McKay, West, North, South, and Sprague. Break it down some more. There's 12 middle school communities. Break it down some more. There's, I think, 28 elementary neighborhoods. But we can break it down some more. If there's a hill, a creek, a park, a subdivision name, and then we say, so what's your neighborhood? So Mark, what's your neighborhood?
Mine's actually in Silverton.
That's okay. Silverton has neighborhoods, right? Even in smaller communities. So West Silverton.
We're up on the Eureka. I honestly don't know what the neighborhood is.
This is where we always say, You get to name the neighborhood now.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, homework assignment. Either you find out the name of the neighborhood, and if there isn't one, then you have the power to name that neighborhood. So, Dan, what's your neighborhood?
West Salem.
Which is a neighborhood association, but remember we break it down into the smaller units. So
Glen Creek.
Glen Creek. Absolutely. Yeah.
That
fantastic.
And that's where we live. But we've really got to. It's a neighborhood when we know each other.
That's the key.
We have a common cause.
That's the key. There's a great book called The Art of Neighboring. written by a couple of pastors from Denver. But again, it's about people of faith and people of goodwill. So they have a challenge to just, it's a square, it's a grid. So if you live in a house, what's your block? If you live in an apartment, what's either your floor or your building? And then the question, 3 questions. Do you know the names of all the people
In that.
let's say, I live in a house in the Grant neighborhood, so on our block, do I know the names of all the folks that live in the houses or duplexes or apartments of my block? And yes, I can. That's just the first level. Do I know their names? The second level is, do you talk to them often enough to know something very distinctive about them? Like the names of grandchildren, or where they grew up, or what they do for a living, or what their hobby is. So I know their name, and I know at least one specific thing about them. And then the third thing is, do you ever get together at a block party to trade sugar over the fence? Does anybody do that anymore? Neighborhood night out.
That's how we got to know.
Little fire pits, walking the dog. Little fire pit, walking the dog. So those are kind of the 3 steps, and then you just so it's not a mandate or a burden or it's just kind of those first 3 steps, and then after that. Now, in some neighborhoods, I've had people say, "Well, I don't know if I want to know the names of all my neighbors because we have a little bit of a tough neighborhood." Okay, figure out the ones who do you know, and to what degree can you have safe relationships.
Well, and then when we leave or are gone for a time, we watch out for each other. It's not necessarily a prevent crime thing. It's just, hey, there's. I feel so much better when my neighbor says, "Hey, I'm gone a week or 2."
Can I pick up your mail?
I say the same thing.
Can I pick up the paper? Can we feed the cat?
Basic human courtesy, really.
Yep. And it just starts so simple. So the art of neighboring, and if science says that neighbors knowing each other, it's called neighborhood efficacy. Neighbors knowing each other and helping each other defines scientifically a healthy neighborhood. And what science found out is wealth doesn't define a healthy neighborhood.
Right.
It's neighborhood efficacy. It's, do people know each other's names, and do they do things together? Some of the lowest income neighborhoods are actually very safe in some cities because the neighbors have high efficacy. They know each other. And some neighborhoods of affluence may not have the greatest statistics because people might not know each other. They're isolated. They're sequestered. So resources are handy because they can help a neighborhood be strong, but it's really this key relationships. Now we're back to relationships. So science says neighborhood is good, and then of course in the scriptures and in the faith tradition, love thy neighbor as thyself. Love God, love neighbor. Pretty simple.
Absolutely.
So, now you guys are helping some of the neighbors that are having some challenges.
And this is really a number one community issue. Community being the larger neighborhood. And there's got to be some efficacy.
Right.
And that's really just why we're having these community conversations, so we can identify what people think, what their perspectives are, people who've been through recovery program, people who are just saying, hey, how can I help? So we've been blessed by being able to hear and to share a lot of those things. But the one thing I know I don't want our neighborhood, our community to have is apathy. This is a community neighborhood-wide problem, and we really want to encourage folks to get involved. We've had some of the agencies and some of the organizations here, Salem Leadership Foundation is one of them, where we're all mobilized. At least we care enough to learn a little bit more about what homelessness really is. So I know I don't want to be a neighborhood of apathy. I know that. So how can we encourage people to get involved?
You can't be mad at what's going on and not do something.
Yes. If you're going to be mad, you better be working.
Right. So I understand it's frustrating to see some of the things that are going on, but to merely get upset or to put your head in the sand, it doesn't do anything. So how do we do something? And even if the something doesn't work right away or doesn't solve everything, we still got to do something. And again,
neighborhood is
science and faith say the same thing. Yeah. Everyone should do something. Everyone should do something.
It's our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we owe it to ourselves, but future generations, and the kids and all the grandkids we're all having.
Yeah.
I mean, I want them here.
And living in
Shalom.
One of the best places. Our friend Dick Withnell is so good about saying, Salem Kaiser must be a great community because we all live here. When he's with audiences, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're all here in this town.
Yeah.
It must be pretty good, or we wouldn't be here. Yes, it's got challenges, but so what are we going to do to work together on the challenges? And honestly, expressing frustrations isn't bad. But I sometimes people just want to gripe.
Yeah. Turn
that into action.
Opportunity.
And you guys, again, provide a template and a methodology for how, again, whether we can start by simply supporting, and we want to do that.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't just want support. We need people who come and learn.
Right.
And not everybody has to become a Superman or a Superwoman. Just the little simple things that our grandparents knew how to do.
Yeah.
The acts of kindness, the acts of support, helping somebody with their checkbook, helping somebody, encourage them in their recovery, maybe employ some folks. I mean, there's just so many different ways. One of the biggest things I'm and Salem Leadership Foundation are into today is encouraging second chance employers.
Sure.
And I know you guys work with them. And one example is, the Sassy Onion restaurants.
Yep.
Absolutely.
They are great restaurants, great businesses. And you know what? They will hire some folks who some other folks won't hire because of their past.
We had construction companies here.
Construction
earlier,
company. Is
and
ABC Windows, aren't they still someone who's doing that? And
I meet with Todd, who doesn't own it anymore, next week. So
yeah.
we'll be
And Andrew
talking about
McCoury, I bought it from him.
Andrew, that's right.
But this idea of, and the companies don't put this on their billboards. This is just something quiet and respectful and dignified that they do, is they'll say, we still need good employees. A checkered past isn't necessarily an automatic no.
It shouldn't
And
be.
some of the best workers in our town at some of these companies are folks who have been hired when nobody else would hire them, and they've flown high.
Yep.
And they've gotten back on their feet, and they're now contributing members of society, giving back themselves. And so employers, please, just a small number, give people a second chance.
Yeah, we had our jobs caseworker this morning on.
Yep.
Talking about just this thing, so that's a great endorsement, and we appreciate that. So
We put a challenge out there. We've got 10 guys ready to go to work.
Yep.
And you guys are talking about labor shortages.
Yep.
Give us a call.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Perfect.
I know, we want people to get engaged with us, obviously, but I love what I'm hearing in that get involved in your neighborhood. Make that the starting ground zero of the change that you desire to see in your community. So I encourage you to get involved in the neighborhood situation and connect with Salem
The neighborhood
Leadership.
school. There's some nonprofits that are helping folks in our neighborhoods. The schools are opening up again. COVID kind of shut things down in a lot of ways, but the schools are realizing having community volunteers is a really good thing, and it's just taking some time to get back back in the swing because education is the most important, and there's just been some really difficult challenges, but. I don't know how many of the other nonprofits are coming through, but Family Promise, Hope Station, we've already mentioned Church at the Park, Sparrow Furniture, the Northwest Hub, Isaac's Room Ike Box. Again, workforce development, a little bit of a theme here. Maybe you've already talked about the New Life program a lot. I know it's one of the favorite things I like to tell people about.
Please talk about it.
But I always want to make sure I have my facts correct. So we, at both Samanka Place and the Mission Downtown, there's the opportunity for women and children and men to find safety and shelter and meals and friendship and connection. So it starts with that.
Right.
For many, there's that second level, the New Life program. So if someone's willing to commit to a 16 month,
12 to 8.
12 to 18.
12 to 18 months. See, I need to practice.
Yeah.
Willing to commit to staying at the mission and seeking change and working on how to get back. And then folks will work through that program. And is the number still around 85%?
Oh, success.
Success rate, yeah.
A year after, about 85.7.
85.7.
A year later, are employed,
Yep.
connect to their mentor, connect to their church, working.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's incredible to see New Life.
So you help on both levels. You help on the first line
Yeah.
of defense, and then there's the second opportunity.
Yep.
it's not just this. I mean, this is what the community tends to see, and it's a good thing.
Right.
The mission itself, Samarka Place itself, that immediate care, but then growing toward this.
Right. Starts
It's amazing.
with a warm meal and ends with new life.
Oh,
So
did he just coin that, or is that a familiar
no,
word?
he just
starts
coined
with a
it.
warm meal and ends with a new
Ends
life.
with a new life.
And I know many of the people who have graduated from the New Life program, and it's amazing.
yeah. So at 7 p.m. tonight, speaking of this, we'll have another fire pit roundtable with New Life Fellowship graduates.
Great.
You don't want to miss it. Last night's was just off the charts. Learned so much from those folks, but we're just going to wind them up and let them be friends for an hour.
You know, and lest
So,
anyone think, we have not practiced any of this, right?
Nope.
You guys just asked me to come. I was delighted to come. So I came ready to do two things. One was to talk about the New Life program, which I did, but then you come right in with, and tonight at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
But I just didn't want people to think,
Nope.
oh, Sam
Was
knew
not
what-
rehearsed, no.
Sam
No,
had
no,
this little
no.
softball that he was going to tee up. So, and then the other one was, I wanted to know how we could help, and then just boom, right off the bat, thanks to
Thank you.
Ritters and Wild Pear, there was the challenge.
Yep.
And then we were able to kind of come in, and again, folks, we're honored and blessed to be able to do $250 toward
Yeah,
that
thank you.
$2,500 challenge, and it's something that we do and we love doing, and we know it's going to go a long way. So hopefully, others are being inspired to.
Always positive,
Yeah.
always yes,
Yeah.
always alongside. We're blessed by you. So.
Well,
West Main Hill in Silverton.
West Main Hill.
So I went and found it. So.
West
well, I'm
Main
sitting
Hill.
here. So.
Good job. What's
Well,
your neighborhood, folks?
It all starts with a question.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Right.
What a blessing.
Awesome.
By the way, and again, none of this is rehearsed. I'm a hoarder. I mean, a historian. Did I say hoarder? I like stuff, and stuff sticks to me. So I am I love thrift stores. I am a big shopper
yeah.
at Union Gospel.
People
Mission.
are so
Sure.
kind, they donate. And we've asked them to donate good stuff, and they do. So it's really very, very cool. So
Here's my card that I just got in the mail. So again, I'm not here to do any advertising. This is just
Not much.
Well, no, but I mean, I am a big believer
Partnership
in
card.
I love all the thrift stores in Salem, but this is the card I get every year. You guys remember that I'm a shopper, and I'm getting a discount on my next purchase.
Yeah,
so.
Sweet.
yeah,
So anyway, the mission store is amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff,
Yeah.
collectibles, clothing, household items.
And our staff see people sometimes in distress or trauma, and they'll take the time to talk with them and share with them and pray with them. And I will tell you, the donation center in the store, their ministries as well as the
Is the
men's
store also a
shelter.
workforce development piece?
There are certain times it is, and then when we don't have as much activity, it's not.
Yeah.
So, but cashiering,
Yep.
warehouse operations, retailing,
Right.
we offer those opportunities. So.
You know, it is a store, like you said. You can shop there, you can purchase things, and everything that happens there goes to benefit our ministries. But we also give hundreds of thousands of clothes away.
It's like a block away, right?
And that's
Yeah,
that's
you know,
that's what I said.
furniture.
We give so much
So,
away,
yeah.
as well as operate a thrift
Yeah.
store.
And
So
that's a good
it's a
distinction.
ministry.
Yeah.
It's a ministry as well as the store.
That's a good reminder. So you're selling a lot, and that income is generating support for the mission, but you're also giving away a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
giving a lot.
And that's, I think,
lot
a
of that.
distinctive.
Yeah.
So-
Anybody who's in need, we take care of.
At no cost to them.
No
Yeah,
cost.
No cost.
Yeah.
So.
So we'll sell it, we'll give it, but depends on where you're at. So
Well, something else I'll say as a member of the community, and I guess as part of the Grant Neighborhood Association, when you guys were thinking of building the new mission, as often happens in any community, there isn't always 100%. Yay!
sure.
People have concerns, and it's okay to have concerns.
Yeah.
But I was very strong for it the whole time. I knew that the old mission, you guys were getting as much out of it as you could. You were making it as safe as possible. You were housing as many as you could. But we needed a new mission.
Yeah.
Not an extravagant Cadillac, a healthy, safe, new mission. And it needs to be downtown, in
Yeah.
my opinion,
Yeah.
because there's just so many folks and it's just so centrally located. The goal isn't to put people out of sight, out of mind. The goal is to help people who are our neighbors. So I was a big fan of keeping it downtown, a big fan of it being a new mission. I also knew that it would be an economic benefit for our community. Now, you guys didn't build a mission to have an economic benefit, but just with my experience in some other areas of my business life and just living in the neighborhoods and being downtown, same with the police station.
Yeah.
New construction.
Yeah.
Thoughtful
A lot of
buildings,
jobs.
and the market is now following. I'm excited. So we're hearing now about things like the cannery.
Right.
It's still proposed and it hasn't come true, but the old Truett Brothers Cannery
Yeah.
could be a fantastic mixed-use living, food, art, and guess what? It's right near the mission.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't put the mission way out somewhere where no one could see it.
Right.
It's still a neighbor. It's still a member of our community.
Amen.
It's helping
Yep.
people, but it's clean and safe, and you made all the improvements. You know, sometimes when I bump into someone and I'd say, hey, let's go over to the mission. Well, I don't like this, and I don't like that, and I don't like this, and I don't like that. And sometimes what they thought wasn't always true, but in the old mission, it had some deficiencies. It had some shortcomings.
Limitations.
You guys thought of everything. Is it okay if I tell the cootie story? Sometimes if I would encounter a man and say, hey, let's go to the mission, among the many reasons I don't want to go there, it would be, I don't want to get cooties. You know, there might be bed bugs, or there might be, you know, and I'm like, well, you know, maybe, but it's got to be better than out here on the street. And I don't think it's quite what you were thinking at the old mission.
Yeah. Right.
So what do you guys do? You build a hot room into the new mission. A hot room. Because bed bugs can be a health issue, and you want folks to be healthy, not just the guests, but also the staff.
And an
so you have a
HVAC
room
system that
zip.
zaps viruses. Just before COVID hit,
Wow.
we had no outbreak.
See, so you guys
we were blessed to
took
just-
into account all these things that were for the
Viruses
health
and bugs.
and safety. Again, and another thing I think it's important is it's not just the guests; they come first, but our staff, your staff,
And volunteers.
should also have a safe, clean place
Yeah.
to work
Yeah.
where morale is up and people can feel good. And like, I sort of love the old building just because I like old buildings, but it just, oh man, it wasn't the greatest place to build morale up. You guys made it.
Yeah.
What's the old saying? Making a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
Sow's ear.
Yeah.
You guys did that,
Did-
but
did
now
you
you've
ever-
got a mission that's clean and safe and perfect.
Did you ever get a brick? I'm saving a brick.
I would love a brick.
I have a
Being a
brick
hoarder,
for you.
I mean historian, I would
have a
love
brick
that
for you.
brick.
It's a place of honor. A lot of men came to healing and new life at that old mission. So now it's rubble, but we want to respect it. For 70 years, a lot of help was gone. So I want you
And
to
it's
have
going to be a
brick in
higher and better
honor of
use
that.
now too.
That's right.
So
it will be.
your site
Right.
is a higher and better use, and that site. So two beautiful new properties in exchange for one beautiful old historic property, but maybe
Yep.
not in a place to serve at its highest capacity. And now both sites are doing that. By the way, so I hope no one thinks that the hot room is like the best thing about the mission. To me, that's not why the mission is so great, but it is evidence of a philosophy and due diligence and thinking
Safety.
and conscientiousness.
Yeah.
Because that's just one example, but that you would do something like that. I forgot about and the virus stuff.
Yeah.
The dorms are smaller, and so and you even have a
Smaller
like an
rooms.
infirmary, or you call it, or
Yeah, we have a sick room.
'Cause I-
We have a medical clinic, a mental health counselor. But in fact, we really try to provide as much light as possible.
Oh,
Because
man.
light is part of the healing process.
Yes.
And to do it with dignity and respect. And we just really, we didn't want guys coming and going right in front of the police department or out on the street, commercial street. That's not dignity and respect.
Right.
So we designed it so that we wanted to optimize people feeling comfortable and safe. And we were blessed to be able to do it with the community help. Thank you.
I the two hands, people of faith, people of goodwill. Science says, faith says,
Yeah.
and I find that there's alignment, not necessarily
More so
opposition.
than
So what does science say? Light is good.
Yeah.
Literal light is good for our bodies, for growth, for plants, and then spiritually, light is good. And we
And
know
the-
who the light is,
and the-
and the light loves us.
And the floors are spit shine. It's something I wanted to see coming from the military. So
Yeah.
that place is clean and healthy, safe. The cooties are all outside,
Right.
not allowed in. So
Well,
Mark, you want to pray us?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for letting me come by, you
Yeah,
guys. I'm
we
sure I
wanna
blew
pray
right
for
through
you.
our time limit,
We
and
wanna pray for
people
you.
are probably
We're gonna pray
running
for
from their
you.
cameras.
Oh my gosh.
But thank you.
Alongside.
It's such a blessing. So, Father God, we are just so grateful for the leadership that Sam has provided this community over many, many years. The vision that you have placed in his heart for shalom in this community, God, is just, it's he's a game changer, Lord. And we just want to pray blessings into his life for abundance for the next season of his life in how that all goes, Lord. So, God, thank you for Sam. And thank you for having him here today. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.